The most famous are the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon.
Hello, I'm Carol Kidu Jr. with the Midday News. Thanks for joining us. A man from Hilla has been arrested and charged by the police in Port Moresby for committing a cybercrime offence against the governor of Hilla, Philip Undialu. The suspect, Rixen Apa, 35, of Pureni, was accused of producing, uploading and circulating multiple video, audio and text messages containing defamatory comments against the governor multiple times. The videos went viral on social media, prompting the governor to file a complaint with the cybercrime unit in Port Moresby. After carrying out investigations, members of the cybercrimes unit arrested Apa at Gordon's on Sunday and charged for his alleged crimes. He is on a 3,000 kina bail. In a new turn of events, Electoral Commissioner Simon Sinai has rescinded his decision of November 2nd and 3rd to move counting to Goroka and gave new directives for counting to commence immediately in Wabeg. Sinai, in the directive memo, stated that after going through the recommendations provided to his office and based on serious concerns by relevant authorities, he has made a decision for counting to commence in Wabeg. The date set for the return of the writ to Lagai supplementary election is November 17, and Sinai has ordered the returning officer to coordinate with candidates, their scrutineers and police to start counting today in Wabeg. Polling for the Lagaib supplementary elections concluded in early November, but counting was delayed due to disputes about the counting venue. The Wapenamanda district in Enga province is bringing back its cultural show after a 30-year hiatus. The event was launched in Port Moresby by Chairman Samson Lass in partnership with the National Cultural Commission. It has been certified as a nationally recognized cultural show. Despite recent challenges, Lass assured reporters that the district is fully prepared for its first ever cultural show this December. One of the unique highlights of the event will be the exhibition of a special banana plant. Security measures have been put in place to ensure the safety of everyone attending the event. Elijah Tapi, First Secretary to the Minister for Tourism, Art and Culture, emphasized the government's commitment to promoting cultural shows as a means of fostering unity and positive change. In regional news, the family of a heart transplant patient who died after contracting a fungal infection is calling for answers from Queensland health authorities. Mohammed Hussein was one of 5 patients to be infected following surgery at the Prince Charles Hospital and was the second to die.
Muskan Hussein is searching for answers.
We feel his loss so deeply every single day, everything that we do.
Her father, Dr. Mohammed Hussein, underwent a heart transplant in May. He later fell ill with a fungal infection and passed away in September. The 55-year-old father of 3 was a GP and skincare specialist.
He couldn't wait to get back to his patients, and he never got the opportunity to do so.
Mr. Hussein was one of 2 transplant patients to die after having acquired a fungal infection. The deaths are under clinical review, while 3 other infected patients are receiving treatment.
I understand that a number of different fungal strains have been identified in patients, but only one of those has been found in the hospital.
In a statement, Metro North says fungal contamination was found on transplant equipment at the Prince Charles Hospital late last month. It triggered an immediate deep clean and a pause of its transplant program for several days. The fungal strain detected at the hospital is the same as one found in a patient, but at this stage it's not linked to any of the deaths.
That patients undergoing heart transplants are very immunosuppressed and subject to infections, including infections with fungi.
But the Chief Health Officer says the number of infections is concerning. Ms Hussein says her family was left in the dark about the other cases.
Why weren't patients told immediately? Why weren't the families notified earlier?
There was no compassion shown. Instead, there was a focus to keep a lid on the process instead of informing families what was happening to their loved ones.
Ms Fentiman says she was told all affected patients were notified.
If that has not happened, then I want to again sincerely apologise to those families. It's not good enough.
In a joint effort, the U.S. Department of the Treasury and the United Kingdom have imposed sanctions on key individuals and entities linked to Hamas following the October 7 terrorist attacks on Israel. The U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control led the action, targeting Hamas officials and exposing Iran's support mechanisms for both Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. This coordinated move, aligned with the UK, seeks to protect the global financial system from exploitation by Hamas and its supporters. These sanctions freeze assets and interests of the designated persons in the US or under US control, with additional restrictions on entities majority owned by these individuals. Financial institutions engaging with sanctioned entities risk sanctions or enforcement action. The action underscores a commitment to disrupting the financial infrastructure supporting terrorism while emphasizing humanitarian assistance provisions to vulnerable populations. China's demand for Australia's iron ore is expected to slow, but the world's biggest producer of the commodity is betting on India taking over. Rio Tinto plans to open a new mine every year until the end of the decade to meet the expected demand, but it's not an outlook shared by Australia's two other iron ore giants.
Australia's $124 billion a year iron ore sector is nearing a crossroads as the urbanisation of China nears its peak. The world's biggest iron ore producer, Rio Tinto, says a burgeoning India and other Southeast Asian markets will take up that demand.
As we look forward in the next 20 years, we'll use as much iron ore as we've used, say, in the last 30 years.
Analysts say new mines are needed because old ones are starting to run down.
Rio Tinto talks to having 130 million tonnes of new mine supply coming into the system by 2028. To that year, they have 90 million tonnes of depletion. That's a huge amount of lost production they need to replace.
Rio Tinto's newest mine, Gudai-Darri, opened in 2022. A year into the life of this mine, 43 million tonnes of iron ore have been dug out of the ground behind me, just part of the 335 million Rio Tinto hopes to export this year. The world's biggest miner, BHP, doesn't see India as the major customer Rio Tinto predicts it'll be. BHP is instead focusing on what it says are part of the new mega trends of mining.
That's really potash, copper and nickel, where we want to grow more quickly in those commodities.
The third biggest player in the market, Fortescue, is focusing on decarbonising its product.
We're very positive in the way that China is reinventing itself to also take advantage of a green iron ore, green steel future.
Three visions of the future from Australia's three biggest players. Australia's financial stability hinges on what happens next.
The Education Department is reviewing a statewide ban on school ocean activities after several shark attacks on South Australia beaches. The state government is also bringing forward aerial shark patrols by 2 weeks and broadening the areas they monitor.
When a shark attacked a woman at Port Noarlunga on Friday, 3 groups of school kids were also at the beach. It led to a snap ban on school swimming, kayaking and surfing programs on the state's beaches. But it's a decision that's divided parents.
I understand the directives and the concern for children's safety, but I think it might be a bit of a knee-jerk reaction.
It's the season of sharks here around all over the Australia, so yeah, that's why they need to be careful.
Aerial shark patrol measures along Adelaide's beaches have been brought forward and will start this week in response to a number of attacks in recent months. It means the Education Department could reverse its ban by next week.
We have the advice to say those kids are safe. We have shark patrols in place, and we most likely will have some things like some extra staff in place as well.
The opposition says cancelling school programs isn't the answer.
Denying young people the opportunity to learn about water safety and aquatic skills puts them more at risk in the summer months.
On the Eyre Peninsula, where sharks have killed 2 people this year, there won't be any aerial patrols. But locals see the ocean and the risk sharks pose as a way of life.
They're going to spend the whole summer in the water, and that's just the reality.
Ultimately, when it comes to sharks, it's their ocean, it's not our ocean.
The state's beaches in focus as the weather heats up.
In sports, NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Silva Sika has officially opened a 3-month sporting program for the June Valley community in Port Moresby on Sunday. The theme of this sporting program is Senesin Passin, in an initiative formed by leaders of the community to engage youths in sports as a platform for peace and crime prevention. Present to officiate the program, Metsub Sika commended the leaders for this initiative. He urged the community to take part in the game with diligence and respect the rule of the game.
But as you are playing, you must think inside the mind. There are rules to follow inside the game. There are people who are running the game. There's a judiciary. If you make a mistake, you do not argue. That applies to the outside as well, or team officials or supporters. Let the rule game amigo. If you fight among yourself inside the game, and you are compromising this club, opportunity to you become a good leader, a sportsman or sportswoman. So never compromise. One time any rule, allow the game to go on. Playing like you're gonna achieve your objective, blah.
And that ends the Midday News. Join us for more at 6 for more news.